This is the Benefactor Vorschlaghammer. The last of the DLC releases from the Bottom Dolly Bounties DLC, this was released with this week's GTA Online weekly update. And it's gorgeous. So gorgeous, I bought 2 of them. So what I'm going to do in this video, I'm going to try and answer 3 very important questions. First of all, was it worth the wait? Secondly, am I an idiot for buying 2? And finally, what is the deal with this spoiler? I mean, seriously. So before we start, let's have a look at customization, because that's probably going to be the first thing most of us want to do. So I wheeled this thing into my agency and made it all white to start with, because the first one I wanted to do was a black Cosworth. Because if you've got an option to have a Cosworth, you've just got to have one. I'm not sure I could call it the Cosy in this, actually. I know a lot of English people will be jumping up and down saying it's a Cosy, but I think Cosy is reserved just for the Sierra and the Escort. But let me know in the comments if you think I'm wrong. Anyway, customization wise, this thing does support the drift tune if you want to ruin it. The rest of the customization is kind of okay. There's not a huge amount. I would have liked a bit more, but there's enough. There's enough to make it something like. Some of the spoiler options are odd. It's very nice to have an option to put a Euro plate on there. And I think when all's said and done, I think I managed to do a fairly reasonable replica of just one of the best looking cars you can buy. The Mercedes Cosworth Evo was just stunning in its day. It's stunning now if you ever see one. Absolutely fabulous looking car. So back to the lab, and why did I buy 2? Well, that's because the second one, I wanted to do one of the hero cars, even though it was driven by the villain, from the 1998 film Taxi, not the horrific 2004 remake. We're talking about the original French version. I'm not going to say it's a good film, but it is a good car film. It's basically just one long car chase from start to end. It's done old-fashioned style, no CGI, just stunt drivers and fast cars. So, on the left, you'll see my black Cosworth, and on the right you will see my red Mercedes gang car. And obviously, with it being a French film, I've gone for a French-themed number plate. And the reason you've got 2 on screen at the moment, started these laps at the same time. I was about to start the edit, and then someone dived into the comments, so thanks Digby. And what he said was that he had bought it and driven it without customization, and actually found it an awful lot better and much more fun without customization. So that was not that I needed much of an excuse, but that was all the excuse I needed to buy 2 and run the 2 side by side just to see what the difference is. So the Cosworth on the left, as you would expect, is fully upgraded in every respect, and the Taxi getaway car on the right has some modest suspension upgrades, and that's it. No transmission, no turbo, no engine upgrades. A little bit of a tweak on the suspension because it did sit a little bit too high. And that probably is about right, because in the film, this car did get its arse handed to it by a Peugeot 406. Yeah, one of these. And I must admit, I do see what he was saying. The version without the upgrades is quite a lot more fun. It's certainly a lot more chuckable. Which is something I like. I like being able to sort of manhandle a car. It makes it a lot more fun. Now the downside to that is, it's not the fastest car in the world. In fact, in some respects, it's relatively slow. It does pull in a reasonable lap time, well, at least the one on the left does. But one of the downsides to that is, it's really slow off the mark. So when you're actually up to speed, actually building speed on the freeway, it's pretty good at that sort of thing. But through the city, it does tend to bog down. If you lose too much speed, it can take you a little while to get going. So it's certainly not the fastest car out there, but the way they've put the handling together makes it an awful lot of fun. Now, I'm trying not to be biased about this, because when the Bottom Dolly Bounties trailer dropped, this was one of the first things I saw, and ever since I saw that, I've been looking forward to getting this car in this game. So this is one that I really have been waiting for. So I'm trying not to be biased and overscore it, But I'll be honest, this is a really good car. It's a really good fun car. The upgraded version is doing a decent enough lap. And you can see, side by side, the upgraded version has already started the top speed test. And the non-upgraded version is still a fairly significant way behind. So let's go through my questions. Was it worth the wait? Well, I would actually say yes, considering the wait wasn't actually all that long. So let's just check the top speed before we carry on. Okay, and that's what the unupgraded version managed to do. Unupgraded, is that a word? It is now. So as the standard version, let's call it the standard version, as the standard version starts the top speed test, we'll go back to where we were saying, is it worth the wait? Yes, because the wait wasn't that long. I think this is one of the fastest drip feeds we've ever had, because this does signify the last vehicle in the drip feed, because even though there were some cars released that we didn't see in the trailer, data miners did go into the code and they managed to figure out what all the new cars were going to be well in advance. So we know this is the last one. And I've never known the drip feed end quite this soon. Let's have a look at the top speed for the standard version, and that managed to do this. So there you can see a reasonable difference. So yeah, back to the plot. It has been one of the shortest drip feeds. Now, I actually don't mind that, because what that means for us now as players is that we can look forward to some business bonuses soon, because what you'll notice is whenever there's a DLC, whenever we're moving through the drip feed of a DLC, you never get any decent business bonuses, so you never get any good methods to earn. It's been a while since we had anything. I think the last thing we had was the double money on agency, on the VIP contract, which is actually one of the better bonuses they can offer. But we're definitely overdue some double money hangers and double money special cargo, all that good stuff. And that's more likely to come sooner now that they've finished the drip feed. It was quite a short one, there weren't a huge number of cars, but I actually thought on the most part the cars for this drip feed have been really good, obviously with the exception of the bollocks. So as we're coming to the end of the lap, or at least for the upgraded version, one of my final thoughts and review. So we went through the questions. Yes, it was definitely worth the wait. Am I an idiot for buying two? Do you know what? Put your answer in the description. I actually think not, because I like them both. I had to have the black Cosworth, and I really do like the way the red one turned out, though they didn't have as many spoiler options as I would have liked for that. So I'm glad I've got the two. Whether the second one is going to stay in standard trim, I don't know. In fact, I'll say I doubt it. I'm not a huge fan of slow cars, so I don't see me keeping that one in standard trim for very long, and I'm certainly not going to be putting the drift tune kit on it. Because one of the things you'll notice about this when you go through the city, this is actually a nice drift car anyway, and you don't need the silly drift tune to do that. I know you need that if you want to do the drift races, but if you just want to loon it about the city, this has got more than enough oversteer for you to be able to kick it out round a corner and control it all the way around. So here's your final time for the upgraded version. So now it's all about the standard version. How long is it going to take this one to come through? One thing I hope you notice is that they've both been quite clean laps, and that's because it is quite controllable. It is a little bit sharp on the turn-in, but you do get used to that, but that does mean it's relatively easy to get through traffic. It builds speed on the motorway really well. All in all, I'm going to say this is a must-buy. I think this is a really good car. I'm not just saying that because I like it. I'm not just saying it because I like square things. I'm saying it because I think this is a really good car. It's sensibly priced. It's just under 1.8 million. By the time you're throwing your upgrades at it, you're going to be quite close to 2. And I think for that you're getting something that looks cool, that drives well, is nice and fast, and is just, I don't know, for me, a breath of fresh air in the game. It's a car I've always wanted them to add, so I'm really glad that they've done it. So for this one, hats off to you, Rockstar, you've done a great job. And here's the time that the standard one managed to do. And if you look at the comparison, you can see that the upgraded version, those upgrades made quite a difference. Almost a minute and a half faster around this track. Now this track does lean fairly heavily towards top speed, but still a minute and a half between two different versions of the game is significant. So sorry standard version, but you're getting pimped. So I hope you found that useful. Here's where the upgraded version sits on the lap board. So take care of yourselves, and I'll see you all in the next one.